Good morning, good morning, good morning. Happy Saturday. Happy Saturday, Saturday, Saturday. And welcome. Come ye, come all. I don't know if there's more to that sentence. It sounds like there should be. Anyways. All right, cool. Great showing. I'm sure everyone has a little bit of extra pep in their step because we just completed our one-time offering, which actually was quite successful. We raised what we needed to raise. I'll put it that way. And just to throw a little icing on the cake, as you can see, Rhino Bucks today, 211. And it's funny because I was on the phone with one of our rhinos last night, and the gentleman was, he was like, well, I see we're doing the raise for $1, and we're currently over $2, but is this going to be one of those situations that as we get closer to actually getting the coin in hand, all of a sudden a whole bunch of supply comes on the market and the coin is like $1, $1.10. And I just kind of laughed a little bit. Because I remember when I was in the stock market, there was this company, what was it called? I forgot the name of it. They had like one of the first electric cars called the Karma. Well, go figure, right? Karma. So anyway, we got into the offering and the offering was like 60 cents. And we were locked up for 6 months for our warrants. So the way you got the warrants was you recommended the offering to some of your clients. And if they, believed it to be a good offering, they would participate. And the company would go ahead and reward the investment banker, the broker, whomever, by go ahead and rewarding you with warrants. So if the stock ever got to a certain point, you could cash out and you'd make a whole bunch of money. Now, of course, that could be kind of a little slimy, but if you actually believe in the company, it's fine. I actually traveled all the way down to Atlanta, Georgia, and had dinner with the CEO. So I was also like 21, 22 years old. So it stands fair to reason someone was able to talk around me, but I was there. I spoke to the CEO. I felt good about it. And in fact, actually the company, and I forgot the name of it, they're a publicly traded company now and they're doing quite fine. The point of the story was that the stock went from the 60-cent warrant that we had always up to like $1.80. And I was a big participant in this deal because I believed in it. I was thinking electric cars was going to be a big thing in 2009, right? And I was maybe 14 years too early. And long story short, as it got closer to the date that I was able to redeem those warrants, the stock went lower and lower. And by no coincidence, the date I was able to redeem them, the stock was 59 cents. And I was like, why would I ever purchase a stock for 59 cents? Hey, Frida, for 59, why would I spend 60 cents to purchase a stock that only is worth 59 cents? That's the way warrants work. They allow you to purchase a stock at that price. So at $1.80, okay, I could purchase $1.80 for 60 cents, which means I could purchase it and immediately sell it and make 3 times my money. So it brought me back to that. So as I was talking to the Rhino yesterday, I shared that story with him. And I said, actually, I was thinking about that last night, the previous night. I was sitting with my wife and I go, babe, you know what real Wall Street companies would do? They would do this offering at $1, raise a whole bunch, and instead of fearing that people are going to sell it come the 17th, they would oversupply the market, bring the thing always down to $1, and now no one would have any motivation to sell it because it's exactly the market price. And my wife laughed. She goes, but you would never do that. I go, I know I wouldn't. That's like the biggest dirtbag thing in the world, but that's the way Wall Street would do this. And she just laughed. So when I was talking to the Rhino, I shared that with him. And I said, no, that's not the case. He goes, yeah, but it'll probably be a little bit lower than where it is now. And I said, no, that's not the case. He goes, why? I go, well, actually, let me give you the full reason, right? Because it's very easy for someone to say, oh, that's not the case. And then it is the case, right? It's an easy thing to shrug off. But then I broke down the behavioral economics of market participants. I go, if you own something at $1 and it's $2, your natural inclination is, let me go ahead and sell some. If you own something at $1 and it was $2 and now it's $1.90, $1.80, your natural inclination is, I need to sell all this before it continues lower because other people are probably thinking the same thing. If you own something at $1 and it's over $2, it's over $2 and it's moving up quite regularly and consistently, your natural inclination is, I should sell some, but I just don't want to. Everything looks like it's fine. The point being, I'm sharing with you right now that it's completely financially engineered in terms of how I'm going to do this, but it's also going to benefit everyone. I'm going to make sure that it continues higher because A, I don't want everyone redeeming all that stock because I don't want it coming on the market all at once. Secondly, I want to make sure I reward everyone that participated in it because it means something to me, right? Like we're able to do this because people were so willing to trust RHINO and participate. So not only do I want to reward the participants, but I also want to make sure that I incentivize them to continue growing with RHINO. Which is why in the email I had shared that, of course, I can't guarantee anything, but my goal is to get it to $5 by May. Now, of course, if you do a cent a day, you're not getting to $5 by May. Does that rhyme? A cent a day? Okay, yeah, it does rhyme. Which means I'm going to have to expedite it a little bit quicker, which is fine. I plan to do that. I would like to have it going up 5-6 cents every day. In which case, people would say, why would I sell this? That's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. So the behavior of markets is a calculation that most people are unaware of because it's not in black and white, right? You have to be able to read the zeitgeist of the room. There's no calculation that says, all right, if you raise it this price and somebody was with you this long and they own this much, then their inclination to do this equals this. That doesn't exist. You have to just know and feel the market. And because I have the benefit of working really hard and speaking to everyone all the time, I get to hear everyone's opinion. And a lot of times people say, gotta listen to their opinion. I find that to be the most valuable thing in the world. I will always listen to the opinion of everyone in RHINO because I've always said from the get-go, it's not that Anthony owns RHINO. Anthony's just stewarding RHINO. I had someone say to me the other day, they go, it's insane that you've never got a paycheck. I go, it's not insane. My stock is in the company. I own 5% of the outstanding RHINO bucks. I am completely incentivized. My total net worth is RHINO. I'm completely incentivized for RHINO to do better. So any decision I make, it might be in my best interest, but it's in my best interest as everyone's best interest. So I like that. So the long story, the long and short of the story is, in case anyone had that notion in mind, I wanted to dispel it quite quickly, but not just by saying it, by actually describing or explaining my reasoning so that it makes sense. Again, if it's $2 and going lower, then everyone is going to say, and rightfully so, okay, look, everyone is selling. Everyone that got the dollar is selling. They just raised money. They're not going to be able to redeem all this. They'd have to redeem twice as much as they needed to raise. I'm getting out of this really quickly. And you would be right. So do I want that? Absolutely not. So in my head, do I already have a plan before I did the raise of how I can go ahead and make sure that that's not the case? Of course, right? When we did the pilot program and all those metrics afterwards, and everyone's like, oh, that video stunk and that webinar stunk, it misses the point. I know the numbers. I know how we feel. And that's not meant to say, well, I know you before you know you, right? Like that's not the case. What the case is that RHINO is so cumulative that everything we do is with everyone in mind. So that being said, I'm never going to put someone in a position where they feel like they have to do something because they don't know what to do. That's what I mean. Anyways, so thank you for the offering yesterday. We did quite well, everyone. So we're kicking butt. What is important is now we're going to go back to increasing our email list and continuing the offering for RHINOHUB. In the offering, I need to continue building it, right? So in RHINO's store, I was looking at it yesterday. In fact, I was sharing it with some friends. And a lot of my friends were like, oh my God, that's so hot, right? Like that design is hot. This is hot, that's hot, which is great. But the average age of RHINO is not of the demographic that would say this is hot. which made me realize, well, we have to have a line that's actually speaks to a less loud style. We don't want to lose RHINO, right? Like we're not going to give you a white shirt with, I don't know, Marilyn Monroe on it or something. It will be RHINO, will be unique, but I do need to make a line that is commensurate with those that are 30, 40, 50, and 60. So I do need to do that. I'm not doing it today, but I will be doing that. I have RHINOHUB again today at 11. I have RHINOHUB all next week, which, by the way, was supposed to be prep week for the exam. But that assumed or presumed or calculated that I did RHINOHUB for 3 hours a day. I have not been able to do RHINOHUB for 3 hours a day because I have not been able to do anything for 3 hours a day. So I've been doing it for an hour and a half to 2 hours a day, which is still a lot of time. But in saying that, I'm 1 week behind in RHINOHUB. So right now, RHINOHUB is a 28-day program, not a 21-day program. I like the ring of 21 days over 28. So what's going to happen is I'm going to continue doing RHINOHUB this week and next week, rather than just the following week. And when we go ahead and edit the videos, we'll edit it down to 21 videos rather than 28. So I'll probably take 2 or 3 days editing it down, putting music behind it, like all the really good stuff that makes a good video, right? So in real time, RHINOHUB will be 28 days. In perpetuity going forward, it will be 21 days because it'll be recorded in the format of 21 days. And as everyone knows, if you're joining RHINOHUB today, you're getting the email, hey, we'll look out for Orientation Monday. And that orientation email includes the already recorded orientation, which we'll then go ahead and edit. So that I need to do. Now, upon the completion of RHINOHUB, I'm actually going to take the test, the certification. I was actually on the phone with one of our rhinos yesterday, and she's like, are you really going to take all these tests? I was like, how funny is that? By accident, the RHINO is going to have certifications in every major AI program, from Facebook to Google to augmented reality to driverless cars to Tesla to blah, 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 blah. I go, that's a really good value proposition. And then when I was talking to another rhino later in the day, I mentioned that and I said, you know what? That will be some of the seeds of our new premium offerings. If we have all the certifications and all the education of everything that people are paying $100,000 to $200,000 a year in annual salary for, I'm sure we can make like a $2 a week program for it, right? Like that's how RHINO works. Like it's going to continue offering the best, most valued propositions based on the education and real things. It's not like, oh, hey, we have a friend and he's going to let us offer this. No, we did the work. We created it ourselves. We own this and we're making it the best we can. So that's just, will always fuel the things going forward. That being said, upon completing the exam, and God willing, I pass it, right? Which I will. I really don't have a doubt of that. I haven't failed the test since I think like 3rd grade, and whatever. I was talking to the girl in class, right? So once I pass that certification, then I'm able to do a complete case study. Hey, I knew nothing about this. 21 days later, I passed the test. Look, I went ahead and had immediate job applications. I had immediate job offers, or I created an agency and immediately had clients, right? Like I'm gonna do all of that. Because once I do all that, then I'm able to record that as an ad. Hey, you're a mailman, you work at Burger King, you work at Acme, which, by the way, I will always say this, and I want to make this clear. When you're working in honest living, you're a superhero. I don't want anyone to ever confuse me saying Burger King and grocer as being like a lower class citizen. I just want to get that out there. But if you're working a position that has a lower income, right? Those positions do have lower income. Well, we can go ahead and do this for you as well. Look how I did it. In which case you have the ad, they click it, there's a 5-minute, like shows you how it's done, and then they join the program. It is that individual that's going to be highly motivated. It's that individual that when they go ahead and join the program will get a welcome email. Hey, welcome, welcome, welcome. Your orientation starts Monday. Before then, would you like to go ahead and purchase some material, right? Like, would you like to purchase a notebook, a pencil, a poster, anything, right? So we'll have the offerings in alignment with what somebody would purchase when they're starting a new program. Because the ad was so not, hey, Mr. Jones, why don't you do this? No, it actually showed us doing it. It is of real value. It is going to, the person that does that is going to say, I have confidence in this. I see it. I see what's going to happen. Therefore, that individual is more invested in that program because they believe the probability of success is higher. Therefore, that individual is willing to put some skin in the game, and that individual is willing to buy a notebook or something, right? So that's the first purchase they'll do. That's the first purchase that allows them to get skin in the game and actually be within the program. As the program moves on, then we'll have the opportunity to offer our premium offerings, whether they be Rhino Bucks or Rhino whatever, right? As they go through the platform and they go to the certification and they pass the test, I'm sure they're going to want, I don't know, a diploma, right? Or like a certificate. And we'll have that ready for them. I'm sure they'll want, all right, do you want a shirt that says I passed Rhino? Like, we can do stuff like that, meaning this individual is going to be worth something. Although we got them for, they're in a free platform, they will be generating revenue. Now, in as far as whatever they do going forward, whether they accept a job placement or they decide to be an agency of their own, we'll have recurring offerings for them, right? If you do an agency of your own, maybe you want to participate in Rhino email, maybe you want to blah, blah, blah. If you go ahead and do job placement, maybe you're interested in some type of investment thing, or maybe you're interested in blah, blah, blah. Most importantly, oh my God, Brian, I'm literally the worst. I still have not looked at it. So A, I'm gonna look at it, and B, I want to let you know I did have Chinese food last night, and I was so happy. But let me get back to this. And again, when I say blah, 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 it kind of sounds like, all right, Ant, you're not really thinking it through. I am. But the reason I'm saying blah, blah, blah to both of them is because the bigger point is if and when the individual goes through the program, passes the certification, and comes up to a point where they actually accepted a job and or opened an agency and took on clients, more so than anything else, that individual appreciates the value of Rhino. That individual represents by themselves that Rhino works. The point being, that's where the agency platform comes in. If that individual believes in Rhino and what we're doing, it would behoove that individual to participate in owning an agency of Rhino, white labeling it, or being a participant in some type of financial means where they're able to earn money on offering this to others. And whether they choose to be an agency model, which means we'll clone and duplicate everything we do for the benefit of them, and that we're able to show that each individual is worth, say, $2 or $2.20 per week, which, mind you, the individual that's purchasing this realizes that they purchase things along the way so they can believe that number. We're going to hand deliver the agency plus 10 initial members. Meaning, if we charge $20, 10 initial members times $2.20 per week equals 20, right? $2.20 equals $22 a week, meaning the person that participates in an agency is immediately profitable $2 a week. So the individual that participated in Rhino understands the value and has gotten very good outcome out of it by having a new position or having their own agency. Is that individual motivated to support the platform, Rhino? And if the answer is yes, is the individual even more motivated to support the platform while making a passive income profit that they do nothing to earn? Well, the answer is yes. What does that mean for us? That means every individual that they bring on going forward we control the marketing too, because again, because the platform is being cloned out, all the marketing that we do is the same marketing that they do because we're doing it on their behalf. On top of that, the bot that is in Rhino Hub is still being coded and trained to be an expert salesman of Rhino. And that's actually kind of the most special thing we have right now. Because when any individual signs up and actually lands on the Rhino Hub membership site, they're instantly going to interact with the bot. And again, we're still figuring out how we're doing the interactions, when's proper, blah, blah, blah. But each interaction is going to solve whatever challenge they have. Hey, I was looking for, a recipe for chicken pot pie. Oh, well, here's the recipe for chicken pot pie. Did you ever think about the recipe for your financial wealth? Blah, 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 blah. And of course, it's not going to be that like in your face, but each conversation will have a path that leads to a recommendation of one of our products. Meaning we have a 24/7 expert salesman that works on the behest of RHINO, that works along the marketing that works along the marketing path of RHINO at all times for everybody. Job placements and agency models sound fantastic. Small business too. RHINO Street's just perfectly into it. Yeah. So actually, I was speaking to Eve yesterday, and she was asking me like, "Well, what about RHINO Street?" And I couldn't find it at the moment, but then I did. And what I said was, everything that we've done, we've always evolved and learned from, right? So like when we were leading with RHINO Street, the reason we didn't have as, the success of migrating the whole world over was the fact that it wasn't that very exciting to anyone. They got onto a search engine that had no population. So we created RHINO Bucks so that we could create an excitement and use that as the bridge to RHINO Street. What we learned with RHINO Bucks was it only was popular amongst the existing audience and ecosystem of RHINO because it involved an education and experience and a trust bridge that we didn't have with new people, which evolved to RHINO Bucks, because now we're building that education and experience bridge with new people so that they have a good feeling about us, in which case then you could backtrack the whole way. In terms of where RHINO Street fits in RHINOHUB, there's a self-promotion portion, there's a build your own website, there's a launch your own business, all of which, if you go ahead and you're successful within RHINOHUB and you are accepting new jobs or you are building a website or whatever, it stands fair to reason in that exact moment, if offered, hey, would you like to go ahead and list on our search engine? It's, no ads, no marketing, no data tracking, that the individual not only knows RHINO, the individual not only appreciates RHINO, but the individual is going to accept that offer because it makes sense to what they're doing with RHINO. That's the bridge that allows everyone to go ahead and sign up for RHINO Street. So the name of the game is, can you get people in the front door? Because it sounds like we're very thoughtfully nurturing them once they get in the front door, with the main value proposition being, we are able to take you from this income to that income within 21 days. That is always going to be the crown jewel, right? Like that has to happen. If that does not happen, nothing else works. That's why I spend 2-3 hours a day doing the curriculums, doing the lives, making that has to happen. Assuming that happens, which again, I know it has to happen, so it's going to happen, then all the ancillary things start working. They start bleeping. Everything is good because that's happening. Therefore, how do you get people in the front door? Well, if you're able to prove that that's happening through case study and the 5-minute videos and actually showing it happen, then it shouldn't be too difficult, right? Because we can target actual peoples of industry. So for instance, when you're doing ads, and I'm sure people know this, but it's not like you're doing a billboard that everyone sees. You're targeting who you're sending it to. So if we wanted to go ahead and look up and say, what is the top 5 industries that are most immediately going to be replaced by AI? We can find out the answer. Whatever those top 5 industries are, we can then go ahead and run ads to individuals that are employees of said industries, which means the people that we're going to run ads to, say one of the industries is, I don't know, grocers, right? Because when you walk into a grocery store, there's already is a checkout line, in which case, I don't work at the grocery store. I like going to the grocer. I like going to the person that checks me out. I don't mind waiting on a line. If I wanted to check myself out, I'd be a grocer, right? And plus I like those people. Like I always talk about Karen from Acme, she's a grocer. The point being, so let's say grocers one. We're able to then go ahead and run ads to people that are in the profession of grocers and actually personalize it to them. Hey, are you aware that grocers are expected to be the first industry that is no longer human in the next 6 months? If you're unaware, check it out. If you are aware, look at our solution. Now, I imagine the person that is a grocer is like, hey, I kind of been hearing about this. Let me check it out. In which case, then the ad will open up. This is what we did. This is who Rhino is. This is what we're going to do for you. Do you think that person clicks and decides to at least take a look? I think they do. The point being, what is going to be the cost per acquisition of that person? Well, if you assume that the cost per click, right, is, I don't know, 20 cents, which is high, but whatever, 20 cents. Then you would assume, well, then you would calculate that you would have 5 clicks of individuals from that industry for every dollar you spend. Of those 5 clicks, how many will sign up? Let's say 1, right? So the cost per acquisition is $1. Well, if the cost per acquisition is $1 and the revenue per member is $2 a week, well, then for the cost of $1, you're going to earn $2 a week times 52 weeks a year is $104. Now, of course, that's not the end of the calculation, because what's the lifetime retention rate, which we're presuming to be 63.7%, which means about 2/3 of the year that individual will stay with you, which is 8 months. 8 months times 4 weeks a month is 32, but there's really 4.3. So let's say 35 weeks. 35 weeks times $2 is $70. So for the price of $1, you could earn $70. Well, that works for us. The point being, and I don't want to get in the minutia of the math, the point being is I wanted to very clearly, right? Like, I don't think any of this was clear, but in Anthony fashion, I think we kind of understand what I'm saying. That because the value proposition that we're offering, we're able to acquire new members at less than $1. But at the same time, because of the value proposition that we're offering and the way it's built out, each member is going to be worth $2 a week. If that is the correct calculation, we're done. That's it. We're just printing money at that point. Because no matter how much money you have, no matter what you do, you could always reinvest it with a 200% weekly gain. Meaning that at that point, we could just reinvest and, okay, we have 100 members this week. Now the next week we have 1,000 members. Now the next week we have 10,000 members. And it just goes on and on and on. And the curriculum is all recorded, right? I'm going to complete this, edit it, re-record it, and place it out there, meaning anyone that goes ahead and purchases and clicks is going to see something that's already recorded. Now you might say, well, doesn't that get stale? No, it's a curriculum. Like, yeah, it's fair to reason that probably in 7-8 months, maybe go revisit it and make sure the curriculum's still the same. But it's good for a while, so I can do one, and then I can do another one, and then I can do another one, which really means I could hire someone to do the next one and the next one, because again, at that point, my time is very valuable in terms of building. I will be there to build. But in terms of replicating and building are 2 different positions. No one is ever too good to do anything, but the value of time is a real asset, right? So I have to manage it appropriately. So in replicating what we do, we'll find someone really great for that. But the point being, I want to share this. We're there. Now it's just like it's already done. We just have to do it now. There's no more solving and figuring things out, which, by the way, we'll probably always have something we have to figure out. But in terms of how do we get from where we are to where we want to be, that math is done. And I cannot tell you how pleasant that is to say. We have the money, we just raised it. We have more money coming in the next 2-3 weeks that we're expecting. It's not guaranteed, right? Nothing's guaranteed till it gets there, but we feel fairly confident. And the business model allows us to reinvest in ourselves at an immediate profit. So now we just have to build it. And now that I've raised enough funds to allow me to get back to work, everyone, you did well, and thank you. So I've already gone for a long time. I actually have a 10:30 call, which is in 1 minute. Then I have RHINOHUB at 11 o'clock. Happy Saturday, right? And I ate a whole bunch of Chinese food yesterday, so I'm moving a little bit slower today. But good things. So I just want to tell everyone I love you, and I will see you Monday, right? So bye.